Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Hey everybody, it's Joe. I'm back out here at Giga Texas, and this is kind of a special day today. But for the drone, I wanted to show you some of the things that are going on around the site. Has to do with construction. I started off early this morning, so I got a nice sunrise as I went up to the North Campus area, and I showed you a lot more of the work that is being done to prepare the foundation for that new construction site. We see GeoPiers are underway, more of the earthwork, some more excavation on that south end as well, and two large mounds of dirt both on the north and the south side, and I think they're just using that for fill and also just preparing for this construction project that's going to be coming up pretty soon. And hopefully, as the GeoPiers continue to make their progress, we're going to start seeing some footings being constructed at some point in the fairly near future. I also go over to the east side where that new advanced technology fab construction site is underway. A couple of things that are of note and is new that I want to point out is, first, there used to be this large tree section that's been there since Giga Texas was built. That's being removed, and this is because it's in the way of that new construction site. They're also relocating more of the trailers, more of the equipment and materials to clear up that spot so that they can begin that construction. So that's really great to see as well. Farther to the southeast, we see more work on that River Road extension, that pond with looks like a retaining wall being built, and potentially the beginnings of extending that road on the south side of the multi-level parking garage over towards where that new structure is going to be built. More consistent to what we have seen with that rendering that Tesla put out, but I'm going to still continue to monitor that and see what goes on. As far as production, Cybertrucks, Model Ys, and Cybercab production seems to be going on. There were dozens and dozens, probably close to 60 more of the Cybercabs over in the outbound lot. Some of them were driving around, some of them were being supercharged, others were being prepared for shipping, and they were just in multiple different locations. This is the first time I've seen them spread all the way out, and they're kind of blending in more with the rest of the vehicle production. So I don't know if that tells us anything, but I think that's a pretty good indication that more of that ramping is going on for the Cybercab, and the production line right behind me is gearing up for a much larger production rate here very soon. Of course, this is the middle of April. This is the month where we know that Tesla is trying to get that production going. So this is kind of that time to be watching for all of that activity. So without further ado, let's get the drone in the air, let's fly around and see what else is going on here at Giga Texas today.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. What a beautiful morning. I thought I would start on the east side, watching the sun rise up over Cortex 2, the battery cathode plant, and the die shop, and also staying at a higher altitude so you can get a better idea of where that new construction site in the upper left is in relation to this complex of structures that have been under construction for quite some time. You can also tell the Lone Tree Field just under the sun in the center top of the screen. More of the earthwork that is being done for River Road on the right-hand side of the screen, the cleanup of all of the concrete in the now right of the screen, this large field with the pond and four of the dirt roads kind of extending to the south towards the Cortex 2 site. I also see more excavation on the bottom right, and we'll get some better views of that here a little later in the video. But hopefully that gave you a really good idea of where we are heading and how far away this is located from the main factory. So pretty much a completely new construction site. Now, this is called the North Campus. We've talked about what this is going to be. It's for the Optimus robot construction or production. So in order to get the 10 million per year production rate that they are hoping for, Tesla is building this new factory, and it should be ready to begin initial production at the end of 2027. So about a year and a half from now. And that kind of explains why they are getting ready and getting the foundation going now, because it's going to take that long to build the structure, get the equipment, install the equipment, test it, and be ready for that initial production in about 18 months or so. But that is what is going on here. What we're looking at now is the middle part of the foundation. On the bottom of the screen, you can see that they continue to excavate through this location, and now they're up into this kind of gray material and continuing to work their way to the north. I like this view because you can see the scale with the workers doing some surveying at the bottom of the screen, some of the cones, and also some of the dividing tape. As I zoomed in, I wanted to show you the work underway with the GeoPiers. This is a method of creating piers into the ground to support foundations and also footings for the superstructure of the building. They drill holes, they fill them with gravel, and then those very tall items kind of crush the gravel inside to make those piers. And they will do that in patterns all the way around the site, preparing for that construction. What that does is it gives a firm foundation through all of the old sand and gravel mine and just the fill dirt and just what was here that may or may not have been suitable for construction. And it gives them that firm base to start the footings to support the building. On the north end, we can see the silt fence, the orange kind of construction fence around that location, and how this is starting to take shape. You can see a road on the right being built kind of around the perimeter of the new foundation. Of course, the foundation has that kind of familiar diamond shape that is the main factory, the far distance, and will also be replicated on the advanced technology fab, which we will see that construction site a little later. As I fly over all of these linear hills and ponds from that sand and gravel mining, I wanted to show you the continued work to bring all of the tree debris and then break it down and mulch it. Some of this debris is coming in from where they're building River Road through a tree belt and near the Colorado River, so they're bringing it here for that disposal. You can see at the bottom of the screen some earthwork, some tests have been done in this hill and tree-lined location. And of course, back to where the main foundation is being constructed. And a nice look to the northwest across the foundation. Of course, the GeoPiers, a lot more of the earth moving equipment and more of the GeoPier materials at the bottom right of the screen. And again, a look at what is going on the south end of this foundation. And we look at the top of the screen all the way back to the main factory and across Cortex 2, where we began today. As I pan the drone back to the east, we're going to fly one more time over this kind of green belt underneath the drone. I want to show you that there is a construction fence around this location with some of the old concrete slabs where the old rental equipment lot used to be. It looks like with this red tank that they're making this into a refilling station. And it's possible this is going to be where the one that exists where there's going to be big construction on the east side may be relocated. This is where they are doing that concrete crushing operation. Much of the very large mound has been moved away and used throughout the site. As you can tell, the conveyor is back and they're making a new pile on the bottom left as they continue to break up more of the concrete that you can see strewn all around the middle and top of the screen. So still a long way to go to get all of this cleaned up. Now here, coming into view at the center of the screen, is where I think they are preparing for material staging. They're making a clearing at the bottom right. Here next to the tree, they brought some of that gravel mix in. The right-hand side of the screen, just out of view, is where they're bringing in more of the trailers. I will come back and show you this a little later, but they're relocating a lot of material for that east side construction site. And that will be very evident here a little later in the video. As we cross over this pond, which is slowly getting filled in, you can see where all that tree debris that I mentioned earlier is coming from. And also you can see a truck coming through the trees at the top of the screen. That's where River Road will eventually go all the way up to that Lone Tree Field, which you can see at the top. You can also tell that more of the geotextile membrane has been placed onto that pond, and they've been filling it in. The pond is now half the original size, and they will continue to fill that in for the road. All throughout this location is more of that fill dirt and beginning to show where River Road will go through this part of the site. So I'm going to kind of maneuver the drone around here, show you this large pile of dirt that we've been monitoring that's being prepared to be used for much of this construction site. And as I turn back towards the main factory, there are a lot of various things that I want to point out. Now, this is where the advanced technology fab building will be constructed. The bottom of the screen, they've gotten rid of the old concrete maintenance facility and this large hill that is slowly going away. You can see some debris at the bottom of the screen, much of the fill dirt gone. You can also see some of the trailers are being moved away. There's that refueling depot I mentioned that may be moving to that northeast. And then here we see materials being moved away, all of these trees being taken out, and trailers at the bottom right that are getting ready to be moved and relocated from this site. Now, this large tree area has been here for the entire time Giga Texas has been under construction. And finally, this is being removed. And that's because everything you see in the screen right now is where that new advanced technology fab is going to be built. As we fly back over the refueling depot, we can tell more of the trailers, more of the equipment is being moved out of this site. It's becoming much more sparsely populated. And on the left is where River Road is going through. As I kind of meander back towards the east warehouse on wheels, I'll show you that more of the cleanup is going on here at the bottom of the screen, and some of the workshops are being prepared for movement. Now, much of the east warehouse on wheels with all the trailers at the bottom right will have to be relocated. Exactly where and how, we'll have to keep monitoring that. Now, this recycle center is also going to have to be completely dismantled and moved, because this is right in the middle of where that new construction and that new facility will be. All of these workshops that you see and the materials at the center and bottom right of the screen also will have to be relocated. And all of those efforts are underway, and we will see evidence of that as we continue to fly throughout this video. Now, what I want to do here is show you again the rendering, and also where the arrow is, a road will connect over next to the multi-level parking garage, and that is consistent with the rendering. I've had some viewers say that they think the rendering is inaccurate. Perhaps, but I'll give you a different view here momentarily and we can decide. Now, what they're doing is more earthwork here, preparing for that construction. A retaining wall appears to be putting in, as you can tell with all of the forms and the gravel and where the workers are. But that clearing where all the vehicles are located looks like maybe the road is going to be at a different level than River Road, and that will connect over to where you could see the road on the south side of the parking garage. There is a lot of work on the berm to the south of River Road, as you can tell there. As I maneuver around and show you the intersection that is new with Robotic Avenue and River Road, I wanted to come back in here where this roadway has had a lot of work with the drainage underneath it. You can see with the big patch, and some of that work is still underway. I want to maneuver the drone around here, look back to where we came, and I'll put up a still image and show you where the foundation will be, the size, and where that roadway could go through and still be consistent with that rendering. Now, that advanced technology fab building is not as wide as I originally thought, as you can tell with that what I just showed you. Here's a better look at the work that's being done on the east side of the parking garage, and a look across where that new construction site will be and everything that will have to be relocated. This is a good view of the material staging yard here next to some of those trailers on the left. and more of the materials that have been brought in here. I did notice that on the top of the parking garage, there was some more probably full self-driving testing going underway. You can see the cones and 3 different places where they were doing testing for parking. So that may be helping with the updated versions of full self-driving. It's a good view of all of the materials that are being stored here. And I did notice another Cybercab working its way to the opening where the end of the production line is for Cybercabs. They're going to park it here on the right-hand side of the screen. There's another Cybercab next to the Cybertruck. And hopefully we'll be seeing a lot more of the vehicles coming out here very soon, since we are now mid-April, and this is the month where we are expecting to see that production beginning to ramp up. I'm going to keep the zoom in, show you some of the materials, that workshop and that gantry crane with the SPMT to maneuver some of those large crates, and what this work looks like here at the south end of the building. And Cortex 1 chiller unit with those 6 fans looks to be operational today, and more work near the River Road and that new intersection, or that intersection here with Cyber Circle, which is the road that's at the bottom left of the screen. As I maneuver back around here, I wanted to show you the current situation with the cooling temporary units and some of those pipes. Also, it looks like there's some connections up to the top of the loading platform. And looks like there's still additional work being done here. That's part of the thermoplastic injection molding system, and is going to be a critical part of production of Cybercabs. So we're going to fly along the east side. We'll go up to the Melt Center, and then we'll resume the narration and the video heading back up to Cortex 2. If you stop here, this is where the welcome center is for guests and also new employees. And I was there a little bit after I flew today for another event. As I fly along the south side, looking at Cortex 2 on the left, the die shop and the battery cathode plant, I did notice that there were utility vehicles at the bottom of the screen. So we may be seeing some additional electrical work, maybe getting rid of some of the lower power lines throughout this location. And then next to the crash test dummy new building, we see new trailers that have been brought in. This is several of a series of trailers that have been brought in very recently, and I think it's related to that east construction site. We do see a Cybercab undercover at the south end of the crash testing today. The pond, or the pit with water in it, is a critical part of testing. So we do know that testing is underway here today. More of the Cybercabs on the left by the black fence. And here next to the refreshed semi, which has not moved in several weeks since it originally arrived, we can see what appears to be some more Cybercabs and a very interesting wrapped Cybertruck at the bottom right of the screen coming into view, or at least a cover on it. And really hard to see. I didn't really realize it until after I was editing. So next time I'll go back and try to take a look at that. More of the transformers that are stored here temporarily. Many of them have already started to be moved over to the west side of Cortex 2 for installation. As I mentioned, this kind of graveled area is becoming a new staging yard, and some containers are already being brought here. And this is, again, for that relocation of materials and equipment from that east side. And another view of this new site being created by the tree line and in relation to where we are. So we're going to fly over the trees again, passing the center section between the die shop and the Cortex 2, show you what is going on here. Looks like more materials and containers are being deposited here. Again, I think this is another sign of preparing that east side for construction. Through the open door, we see one of those HVAC cooling units that had been brought inside. Some more asphalt down the middle, some additional of the trenching and pipe installation throughout this location. And of course, the containers that have been here, some materials, and the workshop in the upper left of the screen. The part 2 of the cooling unit for Cortex 2 has gotten almost all of the fiber reinforced polymer beams installed, all 6 of the bays, and the roof is nearly at the height where we would see the fans being installed. It'll be very similar to what you can see at the top center of the screen. But I'll maneuver back around here, look down, show you the work that is underway, plus the 2 kind of bunkers look like they're filled with water right now, which is kind of interesting. As we continue over to part 1 of the cooling system, we can see the Megapacks, the temporary coolers themselves. One of the fans is in operation today. And of course, all of the pipes that connect the system into the other parts of the system inside Cortex 2. And a better look at all of the temporary fan units, the power cables, the cooling system, the transformers, and other electrical systems making everything work. As I pull away to the south slightly, I'll get a good view of what's going on here. It looks like there is more excavation work being done, and they're loading up that dirt into dump trucks and taking it to other parts of the site. So that'll be something to monitor what they are doing. At the Megapacks, it looks like the 2 cranes have been brought in to help accelerate assembly of the platforms for the Megapacks, also the raised platforms for more of the green transformers and electrical boxes. And this is a good view down looking at all of the progress that is being made along the wall, and getting ready to go over the parapet wall is that kind of scaffolding that will allow the cable trays to bring the power cables from the transformers and electrical systems that are putting in here at the ground level over the parapet wall and into the roof. Very similar to what we see at the top of the screen. But overall, this is what Cortex 2 looks like today. So let's get ready to take a look at what's going on at the electrical switchyard. Crews continue to add more of the steel and other electrical systems into this north part of the site. On the south end, a lot of the work is for that 3rd transformer. And I'll give you a zoom in here. As you can tell, most of the assembly is now completed. The next steps will be doing the connections of the high tension cables and other power cables that you can see in that silver and red on the other 2 that have been just recently added. I'm going to pan the drone back towards the main factory. Wanted to show you even more trailers have been brought in now. Again, I think this is related to getting the east side ready for that construction. So more of those trailers are being relocated here. And a lot of the cars that you see are contractor cars. So this may become a contractor trailer and parking lot for the foreseeable future. The materials here continue to expand and grow. Lots of this is for the cooling systems for Cortex 2 and also for some of the systems on the inside of Cortex 2. So I'm going to come up over the power lines, fly over them, and we'll go over Tesla Road and take a look at what is going on here at the north side of the factory. Of course, all of the casting sorting lot on the bottom of the screen, some new red racks at the bottom left of the screen, and a lot of castings. All of these are for Cybertruck. So if there's any question about them preparing for Cybertruck construction or production and when they're going to be ramping up, this is an indication that that is underway already. More of the paint stands for the Model Y bumpers, some additional racks for bodies of vehicles. And this is where the plastics manufacturing section is. It looks like they're taking delivery today of some more materials or probably supplies. So let's wrap around the building, fly to the south, and take a look at what's going on the west side of the main building. looks like some more cans of the 4680s being prepared for recycling, and some deliveries here at the employee entrance. And it's also framed with some of those white stained planters. And you can see that all around this location. At this platform for loading materials, it looks like the crane is getting ready for some more to arrive, although at the moment I was flying, that had not happened yet, so probably a little bit later. I did notice some more Cybercabs are parked here. I've seen a few before, but now we're starting to see a little bit more. I think these are used by employees and also for additional testing around the Austin area. The berm looks like there is some additional work being done, and you can also see some of the pipes that have been installed, sort of those risers in the white and orange. As I look back to the factory, we'll see that there is definitely activity for production of the Model Ys today. And as we get in closer, we'll see a Model Y exiting the factory, coming down the ramp and getting ready to drive autonomously all the way around about 1.75 miles to the end of line facility. And we'll see this Model Y a little bit later when we get across the highway. So speaking of which, I'll bring the drone up. We'll kind of pull away to the north, and I'll prepare to cross over the highway, and we'll see what's going on at the north end near Tesla Road. Quick shot of the rental equipment lot that was relocated from that far northwest or northeast corner, with the lone tree and some more materials being stored here at the bottom of the screen. And of course, the ever-present Evapco fans and base units, which seem to be here permanently, but one of these days they will actually move. Now, this site looks like it continues to be cleaned up to some degree. There's progressively less and less materials and containers as time goes on. So why? I'm not really sure, but we do see all the racks for the castings here in the field. Maybe they're preparing for those to be moved into that site so they can do some construction in this open field. At the end of line facility, a few things that of our note. That white Model Y is the one we saw leaving the factory. It has made its way over here faster than the drone and my battery swap. On the north end, we can see those new canopies for the shade for used on the direct delivery vehicles for customers. Of course, the Tesla Semi is charging and supervising all of the work that is being done today. But here's a little bit better view of all the cars that are now positioned underneath the cover waiting for their customers to pick them up. A lot of vehicles lined up on the west side of the end of line, as you can tell. And here is the start of multiple different locations for Cybercabs on the outbound lot. In this particular group, I think there's about 34, and you can check my numbers on that. These look like they are most likely the engineering versions getting ready for shipping off-site, probably for some more testing and validating for robotaxi fleets around the country. And here's a nice look at this. I've continued to have viewers ask me, why are the wheels mismatched? Are these just temporary wheels? When are the real wheels going to be put on? These are actually the wheels that they're going to be using. The fronts are steel, the rear are alloys. They are different diameters, different sizes, but they will all have the gold color wheel covers when they are in service. We fly around some of these vehicles. I noticed two more here. There's a worker coming out to one of the Cybercabs, so I would zoom in. Wanted to show what it's like to get in, the door being open, putting the seatbelt on. Of course, I took the moment to take a photo, and when I got back to do the video, the door was already shut, so sorry about that. But you could clearly see that it had the steering wheel and pedal kit installed in that particular version. So she's going to be driving it over to the superchargers. I'll follow it a little bit. We see another Cybercab on the left-hand side of the screen. And if you pay attention as we fly over the supercharger canopies, you'll see several more of the Cybercabs underneath the canopies doing charging. And this is what that kind of looks like right now. And I'll kind of maneuver the drone around. You'll see that other Cybercab at the bottom of the screen. And we'll be ready to look at yet another grouping. Now here we see Cybertrucks, Model Ys, and the Cybercabs all grouped together. Here's 3 different groups, 2 by themselves on this part of the site. We've got another 8 in the middle here amongst some of the Model Ys. And then we have another, it looks like 7 up by this light post, which I will kind of fly around and show you what this looks like. But as you can tell, there are many more of the Cybercabs each day. Today it was well over 60 that I noticed all over the site and at various locations, some driving, some parked. But this is what these look like here today. And I'll bring the drone up and we'll get ready to go over and take a look at the test track after I just show you the overall look here at the outbound lot. Bring the drone up to a higher altitude, good view of the test track and how it looks today. We can see the access road at the bottom of the screen connecting into the main north-south road, the parking lot where they're going to be parking lights being installed just next to that construction fence, and some more materials have been brought in here for temporary staging. And this is what that looks like at a lower altitude. Now, it's been a little bit too wet to do the asphalt, I believe. So all of the oil-based spray that you can tell on the driving surfaces are there. They're just waiting for conditions are correct so they can bring the asphalt in. And I'll just stay at this lower altitude as we fly over where the light posts are going to be, show you what this kind of inner track looks like. There's like a skid pad, or a rectangular one below the drone, and of course the chicanes here with that turnaround at the far southwest corner. Next to the end of the track, there's this clearing, and just thinking that this is going to be either parking or maybe some additional facilities for the operation of the test track. But I'll pull away to the north a little, stay on the west side, looking back across the entire track, bring the drone up a little bit so you can get a better view of how it looks from this perspective. And then we'll bring it back down and just look at this sort of infield with all of the, piled up different kinds of material, the 2 ponds, some of the trees. And I'm still waiting to find out what they're going to do with this. I don't really see any access directly to it from the track, so definitely something to watch to see what they end up doing. As I cross over the power lines, a brief look at the supercharger workshop where they continue to assemble lots of superchargers. There's more in that Quonset hut of the workshop. These workshops are for a lot of the pipes and fittings and testing units for the chiller system. Of course, another tent, the red and the orange and white one, where additional work is being done. All of these transformers that are still stored here on site, and a lot more of the materials. The last thing I will leave us with before we wrap up the video is a quick pass along the west side of the outbound lot. I wanted to give you a look at the number of Model Ys that have been produced. And every once in a while you'll see a Cybertruck. And on the right-hand side of the screen is all of those Cybercabs. So looks like production is moving along pretty well, although I'm hoping to see a lot more Cybertrucks in the next couple of weeks, and of course a lot more Cybercabs too. So that'll bring us to a close of this early morning flight here at Giga Texas, looking across the main factory, seeing the Tesla letters in the solar panels, and that east side where that advanced technology fab for the chips will be constructed. I hope that you enjoyed this video and got a lot of information out of it that is helpful. As always, thank you for your support and for watching along. Take care.